killer of company cultures. But you're expecting employees that are not making the same amount of money that you're making to have the same level of passion. This is a philosophy of work that I have lived and breathed for and lived all my life.
Hi everyone! So we decided to start this series of videos talking about all the problems leaders can have about managing remote and hybrid teams. We compiled the list of questions that we get from our clients, and we wanted to make these videos where I would be asking these questions to Karol, and she would be sharing her knowledge about leading the teams in a hybrid and remote environment. Hi Karol!
Yeah, hi Kate, how are you?
All good. Thanks for doing this.
Of
So our
course.
first video would be all about managing remote and hybrid teams in general. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Amazing. So the first question is, how can I ensure my team stays productive without micromanaging?
That is actually one that I get quite a lot from two different perspectives. One, managers that have never managed hybrid or remote before, or two, managers that are brand new to managing teams, right? Because before you were recognizing your performance by just doing the work and doing it yourself and being amazing at it, and now your performance is being tracked on other people doing what you did, and that is very new skill set. So with that said, whether you are new to management or new to hybrid or remote team management, you have to relearn the skills as if you haven't managed before, because it is a very different environment. You need to learn how to sit next with your team, talk to them, engage with them, and also do it at a distance. And it can be a challenge. So my answer to you is you need to, one, hire the right people and know that they are doing the job that you're hiring them to do. If you do the right hiring work and you have the right people on your team, you will not have a problem with the micromanagement. Another big piece with micromanaging is some people need more framework and other people need more freedom. You need to establish early on who in your team needs what. Now, that doesn't not mean that they know how to do the job. It just teaches you how you're going to teach them to do the job. So that is two very different things. Teaching to do the job has nothing to do with micromanaging. And the perception of micromanaging varies per person. So one person can consider micromanaging, yeah, you calling me once a week on Friday, it's too much, right? You need to establish those boundaries early. Or someone might be like, you know what? Like, I actually like when you call me every single day, right? Like, I have employees that enjoy the daily communication, and I have other employees that is like, please don't talk to me for 2 weeks, right? I have some employees of my clients that enjoy one-on-ones every 2 weeks, and others that enjoy one-on-ones every single day. So you need to establish, one, your boundaries as a leader, but two, respect your team's boundaries as to what micromanaging looks like or not. Know that the job needs to still get done, because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. But the way you go about it has to be adapted by you, and the communication as a leader needs to be owned by you to make sure that you're doing what feels comfortable for you and for your team.
Thank you so much, Karol. That's a
Yeah.
very good point, because I feel like when I was working myself, and then some people would want to talk to me every day, and I'm like, just let me do my job. Don't interfere. I do it really well. So that's a good point.
Yes, yes. I am an
Kat.
autonomous worker too.
The second question is, how do I manage a hybrid team with some employees in the office and others working completely remote?
Okay, so this is the hybrid team reality. And based on Gallup Workplace Research in 2023, this is the most stressed out of all team dynamics. So if you work from home, remote, full remote, you are less stressed than a worker that has to go part time into the office, and even more stressed than a worker that has to go full time into an office. That's crazy to think, right? But when you think about the reality of the hybrid worker, there's a couple of things. One, companies are trying to balance flexibility with consistency. And that is one of the biggest challenges for any company, right? So some companies are like, you know what, we're gonna make you hybrid. You have to come once a week to the office, whichever day of the week that you want, right? So like that is great in terms of flexibility, but it lacks the consistency. So now you're asking, let's pretend you have a team of 10 people to come to the office once a week. Some of them come Friday, some of them come Wednesday, some of them come Monday, right? And what ends up happening is that they're not meeting each other at the same time. So the point of in-person interaction matters, it's getting missed because you're not asking all 10 people to come at the office at the same time. That brings clicks. That brings preferential treatment of some employees. That means that if you have a very important meeting on Wednesday, only the Wednesday employees are going to benefit from it. So all of this is happening because you're trying to balance as a company consistency with flexibility. When at times you just need to be consistent in certain things. What is the point of the hybrid work environment in my company, right? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? Are we trying to accomplish in-person interaction once a week? Then why are you having them choose the day that they come into the office? Just give them a day. And if it makes you feel better as a company or employer or a team owner, ask the team to decide the best day that works for all of them. One person might be off, great, but at least the majority made the decision. It takes the load off of you, manager and company, and at least you got what you wanted at the end of it. The other issue is this is more for the hybrid employee. It is very hard to establish your lines. It is very hard for you to say, this is where my line ends. So yes, I'm coming into the office 2 times a week, but now I have the soccer with the kid. I have this going on at home. So your mind is in two different places. Also, there's a perception that there's preferential treatment if you show up in person to some meetings versus when you don't. So part of that is company culture. Some of that is you setting up your own expectations. So that happens a lot with our clients, and it's something that we're constantly balancing them and helping them in creating those.
Perfect, thank you. And I think the next question actually follows up on what you were saying, because one of the questions that we got is, how do I balance flexibility with accountability in a hybrid work model? So just, how do you manage those two?
I kind of answered that on the last one, but yeah, like basically, what is it that you're trying to accomplish, right? So accountability and flexibility is important. Number one core value to balance with those two things is communication. Communication from the company, communication from the actual individual, or is the company listening, right, to what the individual is saying? And, having that communication amongst grounds as to why am I doing what I'm doing? Why are we trying to schedule what we're doing? And then once we figure out how we schedule that, what is it that you as an employee need to make these requirements happen? I think it's also very important if so this is what's different from this hybrid workplace. A lot of companies are getting ahead of this by saying straightforward from the beginning, we require you to come to the office twice a week. The office is in New York. The office is in London. Great. I'm requiring you to come to the office twice a week. That was before you were hired. It's a different way to balance that, right? The other piece is, we already know that the flexibility is this and the accountability is this, and these are the days, right? The other piece in terms of accountability and flexibility is, what is it that you're requiring this person to do while they're in the office? Or what is it that you require them to do when they're at home? Because when I'm working from home, right, I have a different dynamic that I have at the office. In the office, and this is a myth many people forget. Some people think that when you're in the office, you're getting more work done than when you're at home. That only happens if there's no people around you. Because if you go into the office and there's people around you, guess what's going to happen? The water cooler starts sucking. There's a lot more breaks. There's a lot more lunch time. Like everything just expands. And you actually sometimes get less work done in the office. Now, if you go to the office by yourself, no distractions, there's no one around you, you're in a cubicle just by yourself, and there's no one in the office, yeah, absolutely, you'll be more productive. But what is it that you're trying to accomplish? It's that team dynamic, which is important. It's very important. What you're trying to accomplish, then don't have them come different days a week. Be straightforward about what is it that you need, and have the team pick which day of the week they come. I'm super passionate about this one because I have run to so many companies that are like, we're hybrid, we're being flexible, we're allowing you to come once a week to the office or twice a week to the office. And great, but that does not mean that they're going to get more work done at the house. Actually, even this is for actual remote workers. Remote workers can get more burnout in terms of the job. And there are studies that have proven that Zoom exhaustion is real, video exhaustion is real. It can drain introverts way more than extroverts when you're on a video all day, every day. So that accountability is also important from, do you require your videos to be on? Is there a perception or a bias that if your video is on, you're being more productive than a person where their video is not on? That is a flexibility versus accountability piece, right? So let's say, oh, I can't control what day they come to the office. Great. Do you require your videos to be on? And if you require for a person to be on with their videos on every single call, you're exhausting your employees. So one little thing that you can do is, hey guys, I don't care if you have your video on or on, but there is this one call that is more about team interactions that I would love for all of us to have our videos on. So just be ready for this one call at 3 p.m. on Wednesday for all of your videos to be on because it allows us to connect better looking at each other. Because also, I miss you guys, right? There is a very different interaction than, you know, for 8 hours, I want to see your face straight and knowing what you're doing for 8 hours. Like that is a very exhausting thing. Because even when you're in a meeting in person, you get to leave the room and come back to the room, right? But when you are on Zoom calls every day, this is what you see. And for 8 hours, you got to be like almost like a statue, you know. And in my case, sometimes makeup on, sometimes not. So we'll see.
Yeah. Especially for the 9 a.m. calls, for the girls to do the makeup is always a
I
problem.
know, and like the hair gotta be together, and I'm like, this is not good. My coffee, I'm only on coffee number 2. Like, no, that's not good.
Exactly, I'm not ready for that yet. And I think the last question in this group is, you kind of mentioned it already as well, but what are the other challenges of transitioning from a remote to a hybrid work model?
Yes, I think the biggest challenge I see companies face is that they're not upfront as to why they're doing it. There has been CEOs that have literally quote, well, I would have never gotten this company started if I was working from home for the first 3 years. Well, you're the owner of the company. like you're like is going to work at the level of passion and dedication that you're working for. There's gonna be some people that are like they will bleed for the company, and that's great. But you're expecting employees that are not making the same amount of money that you're making to have the same level of passion for this particular initiative, right? I think that where companies lack is the communication, explaining why you're doing what you're doing. And I think that that is crucially important. I want to make sure we are a remote hybrid team training company, but I genuinely believe in human interactions and connecting with people and talking to people. I think that one of the biggest mistakes they make is allowing people to come whenever they want versus actually having a set up date for the hybrid environment to take place and to have each team own what date that is. So if you have a department of 50 people, maybe that entire department can agree on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But I think that you're missing out if you're just letting everybody come whenever they want, because guess what happens? You're trying to get people to interact, and they're interacting in different settings and in different groups and in different things. Now, you can have one flex day and one day that is mandatory, and that way it allows people to have some level of flexibility. Also, a big thing that companies sometimes forget is that there's humans that are running your company. So they have human things happening in their lives and human things that they need to take care of. And we sometimes are like, but you need to be here because, our company pays for you to be able to do your human thing, right? Yeah, true. But it doesn't take away from the fact that this project can be done at any time today. Doesn't have to be done at 2 p.m. when you want it, when this person has to go pick up their kids at school, or this person has to go pick up their mom to take her to a doctor's appointment. Like, I think that that is like the piece where, companies could do a better job of communicating why they're doing what they're doing and setting up, there's still flexibility with framework. You just need to find what's the right balance for that flexibility and that framework, and that your employees understand why you're setting those two standards.
Another follow-up from this, you said that it's better when the team obviously goes into office on the same day, but what to do if the company makes you go back to the office, but the team that you're working with is actually based in all other locations around the world, so you don't have anyone in the same place as you are? What's the point for you to go to office?
I think that that is a mistake from the manager or the company that is doing that, because everybody's situation is completely different. You will be able to get the same work done in the office that you will in your home. Now, if the manager or leader or whoever leader is this person that is doing it's just doing it because they want to see everyone in the office, like physically see them, like that is more work that that person has to do, because like it's about you and your experience bias. experience bias is when we judge a person or someone or try to make an assumption of a person based on our own experiences and what we have lived ourselves and have a belief that then everybody should do it the same. So if you're experiencing experience bias and say, well, in order for you to work hard, you have to show up at the office, like you're just making it about yourself. Now, if you are like, hey, this person has a great opportunity to network with other people, has a great opportunity to meet other people here in the office, and this will bring more opportunity to her career, say that. But don't make it about the work because the work can pretty much get done everywhere. This is a philosophy of work that I have lived and breathed for and lived all my life. I say this to every employee. I hope that if they ever say something about me, they say this. I don't care when you get the work done. I don't care. I just want it done. And then if there's a particular how the work gets done, you need to specify that with your employee. Most of the work I have been able to get from my team is when I tell them, I want you to get creative, figure it out, tell me what your thoughts are. Because typically I'm going to get something completely different than what I have in mind. And then I can tweak it to more towards the vision that I had. But you just got a different perspective. So bias is a big killer of company cultures. And we need to make sure that we're understanding why are we saying that we need this or we have this, and because it's crucially important.
That's amazing. Thank you, Karol.
Yeah.
I wrote 2 pages of notes. So I hope it was useful for other people as well. And I think if you guys were listening to this video and you want to add any other questions that you would want Karol to answer, please leave them in the comments and we will get back to them in our future videos. Thank you so much for watching this.